probably it will be better on the chat.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to the new CBOX webinar. Let's wait just a couple of additional seconds to allow people to arrive in the Zoom room. Okay, so good morning. Thank you very much for being here at today's webinar. I'm Rita Mills, CBOX Project Manager, and I'm really happy to have you all here with us to give you an idea of the work that the CBOX experts have been doing. So this is not the first webinar we organize with our experts. So this is a continuous effort we are doing to showcase how they are helping blockchain standardization activities in bringing the European values into these efforts. But before we give the floor to the four experts we have today, just a little bit of background information for those who don't know CBOX, but even before that, some housekeeping information. So this event will be, the record of this event will be available by beginning of next week, as well as the presentations that will be showcased, okay? A reminder that on Zoom you have a questions and answers interface, so where you can write your questions and our speakers will be available to reply to the questions you will pose there. We also have a chat box, so a chat area where you can write messages, which are not questions, and also we'll be publishing there some useful information related to the webinar of today. So, who do we have today in our webinar? So we have four experts. They will talk about smart contracts, how the smart contracts are unlocking the powers of standardization for harmonized IT markets. So we'll start with Cristina Aristido, then with Ismael Ribas, Oscar Christoph, and we'll close with Jerome Holtz. A little bit about CBlock. So CBlock is a European-friendly project, and the main goal is to ensure and to help, let's say, that European values are considered on blockchain standardization efforts within the SDOs that exist worldwide, okay? So the first line of action is to support experts like the four experts we have today to be part of the working groups and the meetings of these SDOs to bring those European values. Another point, line of action CBOX, we also are delivering a standards visualization tool to let's say, distribute more detailed information about standards, blockchain as well. We also have some landscape gap analysis reports, which have some insights of what still needs to be done in terms of blockchain standardization, and naturally, the inputs we are putting in these reports are being considered to the European Union rolling plan of standardization. And still but from experts. So today we have four, but in total we had over than 20 individuals who we supported to work on these standardization efforts. So here we have an overview. They've been involved on ISO, Sentinel, and IEEE, and they've been focused on different fields of blockchain, like identity management, government, cybersecurity, and so on and so on. So we had 84 applications and 33 projects, let's say, were funded, and we are very happy to showcase today 4 of these experts. So as mentioned, we have a visualization tool, so if you want to discover materials about blockchain standardization, you can visit our tool. But if you also have a material that could be listed there, you can propose. So feel free to liaise with us. We are also happy to give visibility to your tool. We are also collecting use cases on blockchain and DLT. So if you want to showcase your use case, we are happy to provide further visibility to that story. And there will be the possibility that some of these cases we are collecting will be considered on a standard that is being defined from ISO. If you want to know more information, just click on the link. We'll put these links on the chat so you can explore it further. Another point, since CBOX, we also want to provide skills to European people on blockchain standardization. We are going to launch these months, the CBOX Training Academy. So we'll have e-learning courses from basic level to medium and advanced on blockchain standardization, okay? But also, if you're one institution and you like us to organize a training session within your institution, you can also contact us because CBOX Training Academy has also that feature available. But if you want to be informed when the training camp will be online, subscribe to our newsletter because I promise you, you'll be informed immediately when it will be launched. Still, some points before we go to Christiana. So on CBOX, we also want to understand that, like Europe, is not isolated. So there are other continents in the world, other countries who also have needs in blockchain standardization. And one thing we are doing is to understand the priorities of the regions. So to see how Europe and the United States can work together. In this case, I'm happy to inform that in the following week, we are having a workshop in New Orleans during the SES conference, and we are going to have two panels to discuss how the states of the United States and Europe can work together in terms of blockchain standardization. And I believe this will be very interesting discussions taking the presidency they have there. But still, another point I'm happy to inform, the CBOX is organizing an impact workshop in Brussels on the 10th of April, and we have registrations open. Okay, so the majority of our experts will be there, so they will showcase the work they have been doing, and we are also having panelists from all around the globe to discuss how all continents can work together in terms of blockchain standardization, but also we'll have a panel where we will see how blockchain as a technology can help standardization efforts of other technologies like IoT, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. So we want to understand how blockchain can also help other technologies and other regions, also not forgetting the needs and the values of the European Union. But besides this event on 10th of April, which is only focused on CBOX, there is on the day before, the 9th of April, the registration for this event will be open very soon. It's an event organized by CBOX and Blockstand, and this one is part of the ISO plenary that is taking place in Brussels on that week. So this event is called the Blockchain Studies European Day. So if you like blockchain, you are interested in this topic, you sure cannot miss these events. You can join us in Brussels, but there is also remote connection on these events, also on the one on 10th of April, okay? So we'll be very happy to host you there. The events are free of charge if you want to join us, so we are looking forward to have you there. But now it's time to go to Christina and start. I already spoke too much, so it's time to hear from our experts. Christina, are you ready?
Yes. Thank you, Rita. You have to unshare, so I will be able to share.
In fact, I'm doing.
Thank
it's
you,
done.
Rita. Thank you. Excellent.
Almost.
Yes, slideshow. Are we ready? Yes. Do you see my slides?
We see them properly. Thanks, Christiana.
Excellent. So thank you very much once again. Thank you for the invitation, first of all, from all of you there at CBLOX, and you, Rita, and my colleagues, and Gabriela, and everyone there. Thank you to the audience as well. We are happy to have you with us today. We aim to share more about the subjects under discussion here. So allow me first to just introduce my subject. My subject is smart contracts as a trusted technology. It says a lot, I guess. So I am Christiana. I'm a transnational regulatory technology lawyer with like almost 28 years in practice. So I guess most of my presentations and most of my panel discussions or whatever are deeply informed by my role, by my background as a legal expert, as a practicing lawyer, actually. I'm the managing partner of the hybrid law tech firm. So the firm is regulated as a law firm in Cyprus and in Europe. And we deal only with cases that have aspects of emerging technologies and ICT, IT aspects. So during the last decade, also deeply involved in standardization, as you see on the slide, in many committees and working groups on an ISO level, by the European level, from blockchains to sustainable finance to financial services, because my background is essentially mostly connected with the financial services in the finance sector. So smart contracts today. So I'm going to the first slide. My first slide makes some references here on DeFi, DAOs, dApps, and tokenization. But why am I starting this presentation with this slide? Smart contract technology is at the heart of several transformative components in the digital finance landscape, particularly in DeFi, DAOs, dApps, and tokenization. These interconnected elements represent a new paradigm in financial services, but their effective functioning hinges on the establishment of trust, which is the title of my presentation. So trust, which can be significantly enhanced through standardization. DeFi relies on smart contracts to automate complex financial transactions without intermediaries. DAOs leverage them for governance. dApps use them for user interaction, and tokenization depends on them to create digital representations of real-world assets. As promising as this technology is, its success is entirely dependent on trust, and more specifically, trust in its execution, security, and legal enforceability. However, as the industry has witnessed, this trust cannot be assumed. From security vulnerabilities in DeFi protocols to governance flaws in DAOs and interoperability issues in tokenized assets, unreliable smart contracts can undermine entire ecosystems. Standardization provides the foundation for ensuring their reliability. But before we discuss the technical aspects of standardization, let's first examine the systemic impact of smart contract vulnerabilities and why trust is a fundamental requirement in decentralized finance, but also in centralized finance, as we will see. So smart contracts function within an interconnected ecosystem where failures in one area can impact the entire network. A recent report by NATPA highlights the high interdependence between DeFi, DAOs, and dApps, demonstrating how security flaws in one area can impact the stability of the entire network. For example, recent collapses in traditional financial institutions had immediate negative effects on stablecoins and DeFi markets, reinforcing the need for trust in smart contracts as a systemic requirement. Establishing uniform security protocols, legal frameworks, and classification structures through standardization is essential to maintain this trust. As the head of the national delegation to ISO TC 307, my experience has highlighted both the immense potential and the significant challenges in standardizing blockchain technology and smart contracts on a global scale. At the heart of the issue lies the tension between regulatory fragmentation and the universal nature of blockchain systems. Blockchain systems, by their very design, are borderless. Yet, the laws governing smart contracts often vary widely across jurisdictions. For instance, within the European Union, we have seen significant progress through frameworks like MiCAR, and EIDAS. But even within the EU, differences in implementation among member states create inconsistencies. Then these inconsistencies maintain a serious challenge to standardization initiatives that purport to provide a global harmonized foundation. Beyond regulatory fragmentation, integrating smart contracts into existing legal systems presents additional difficulties. Traditional legal frameworks were not designed for self-executing agreements, leading to uncertainties around enforceability, liability, and governance. For instance, how do we resolve disputes arising from smart contract transactions that span multiple jurisdictions? Addressing such questions is crucial for ensuring that smart contracts can be trusted in multi-jurisdictional, high-stakes transactions. Trust is the core challenge in smart contract adoption. Business, regulators, and individuals must be confident in their functionality, in their categorization, integration. However, trust is not automatic. It must be built through clarity, predictability, and alignment with global standards. One of the key steps toward fostering trust in smart contracts is, of course, ensuring a shared understanding of how they function. This requires a structured approach to defining and categorizing smart contracts, ensuring that all stakeholders, whether developers, regulators, or businesses, speak the same language. Without this common understanding, adoption and regulatory integration remain fragmented. To address this, international standardization efforts, such as our efforts in ISO TC 307, W Working Group 3, with TS 18126, for which I'm one of the two project leaders, are working to establish a structured approach for defining, taxonomizing, classifying, and ensuring the reliability of smart contracts. But before we delve into the specifics of ISO TS 18126, it's important to understand why having a taxonomy and classification for smart contracts is essential in the first place. Why do we need a structured way to define and categorize smart contracts? The answer lies in three critical areas: eliminating ambiguity, supporting interoperability, and bridging the gap between technology and regulation. In terms of ambiguity, the term smart contract itself is often, as you know, misunderstood, since some see it as a legally binding agreement, while others recognize it as self-executing code without legal force, etc. Without clear, standardized definitions, inconsistent interpretations can lead to confusion, can lead to misinterpretation, can lead to legal disputes. A structured taxonomy eliminates this ambiguity, ensuring that all stakeholders operate with a common understanding of smart contracts and their intended functions. Smart contracts are deployed across diverse industries, from finance and real estate to sustainability initiatives, name it. However, their functionality varies significantly between the sectors. Therefore, without a classification system, it becomes difficult to assess compatibility, manage risks, and ensure regulatory compliance across different ecosystems. A well-structured classification framework enables smart contracts to be compared, integrated, adapted efficiently across multiple platforms and industries. Finally, regulators often struggle to oversee smart contracts due to a lack of a universal framework for assessing their function and compliance risks. Without clear categorization, creating targeted policies that support innovation while ensuring consumer protection remains a challenge. A taxonomy and classification system provides regulators with the tools to develop informed policies and ensuring smart contracts can operate within established legal and regulatory frameworks without stifling technological advancements. With the need for structured classification established, let's examine how TS 181/26 formalizes this approach. This standard does more than just define terminology. It introduces a robust, internationally recognized framework that ensures smart contracts are structured for both legal and technical interoperability. It does this by establishing a taxonomy and classification as a single interconnected framework. The taxonomy component focuses on defining key terms and concepts, eliminating ambiguity in how smart contracts are described and understood. Without standard definitions, the same term can take on different meaning depending on the context, leading to confusion, leading to misalignment. By providing this clear terminology, the standard allows for precise communication and interpretation of smart contract functionality. Building on this, the classification aspect categorizes smart contracts based on their purpose, structure, and use cases. This is crucial because smart contracts are not a one-size-fits-all technology. Some serve simple execution functions, such as automating payments, while others govern complex interactions like managing DAOs. By organizing smart contracts into defined categories, the standard clarifies their legal, technical, and operational implications. Beyond this, TS 181/26 also addresses the life cycle of smart contracts, from deployment to execution, updates, and eventual termination. By doing so, it ensures that smart contracts remain adaptable, secure, and legally compliant throughout their entire operation, reinforcing trust in their long-term functionality. Evidently, taxonomy and classification create a robust foundation for interoperability. They ensure that smart contracts can be understood, compared, and integrated across different systems and jurisdictions. And this is not only facilitates global adoption, but also strengthens regulatory compliance, enabling legal frameworks to align with the evolving capabilities of smart contracts. Ultimately, TS 181/26 forms a foundation for building trust and ensuring predictability in smart contract adoption. But trust is not an inherent feature of smart contracts. It must be built, reinforced, and protected The next step is to understand how TS 181.26 functions as a trust mechanism, ensuring that smart contracts are not only technically sound, but also widely accepted as a reliable technology. Trust is not a given in the digital ecosystem. Unlike traditional agreements where enforcement is backed by legal institutions, smart contracts rely on self-executing code. But how do we ensure that stakeholders trust the integrity, execution, and enforceability of smart contracts? This is where TS 181.26 acts as a critical enabler of trust by addressing three key areas: clarity, security, and legal alignment. Starting by clarity, a major barrier to trust in smart contracts is uncertainty. Without clear definitions, stakeholders face ambiguity in how smart contracts function and apply in different contexts. TS 181.26 eliminates this by creating a structured framework with standardized terminology, ensuring that smart contracts operate predictably and transparently across industries and jurisdictions. So when it comes to security, a single flaw in a smart contract can lead to financial losses, can lead to fraud, can lead to system failures. TS 181 strengthens trust by providing structured classifications that help define security expectations for different types of smart contracts. This ensures that contracts managing high-risk transactions, such as financial agreements or data-sensitive processes, are subject to higher security standards. Finally, for smart contracts to gain widespread adoption, they must align with existing legal frameworks. TS 181.26 aims to bridge this gap by providing a classification system that helps regulators assess compliance while preserving the efficiency of automation. This ensures that smart contracts are not only technically robust, but also legally enforceable, fostering confidence among businesses, policymakers, and consumers. By establishing this common and holistic framework, TS 181.26 transforms smart contracts into a truly trusted technology. But where does this matter the most? It matters the most in real-world applications, where this trust is essential. Now that we understand how TS 181.26 enhances trust in smart contracts, let's see where this trust is essential. Several industries already integrate smart contracts into core processes, but their success depends on whether users and regulators trust their outcomes. Without trust, adoption remains limited, and legal uncertainty hinders innovation. As mentioned before at the beginning, the report by NATPA underscores the deep interdependence between DeFi, DAOs, and dApps, demonstrating that smart contract vulnerabilities in one sector can undermine confidence across the entire ecosystem. In particular, DeFi relies on automated smart contract execution. DAOs depend on them for governance, and dApps use them to facilitate user interactions. Without a foundation of trust, these sectors face regulatory scrutiny, security risks, and adoption challenges. Trust is fundamental to DeFi, where billions of dollars are locked in smart contracts, enabling lending, enabling borrowing and trading without intermediaries. However, security breaches and lack of regulatory clarity deter institutional adoption. TS 18126 provides a classification framework that ensures smart contracts in DeFi are transparent, are secure, and compliant, making the sector more resilient and trustworthy. DAOs, on the other hand, rely on smart contracts for governance, but without clear standards, they risk governance attacks and inefficiencies. The report by NATPA highlights how many DAOs remain decentralized in name only, DINOs, due to smart contract centralization. TS 18126 establishes structured classifications that enhance voting mechanisms, treasury security, and decision-making transparency, ensuring DAOs can operate with greater trust and legitimacy. Finally, DApps remove reliance on central entities, offering services in social media, gaming, finance. However, lack of security standards and transparency can expose users to risks such as fraud and data vulnerabilities. The report by NATPA stresses that smart contract failures in DApps erode user confidence. TS 18126 ensures smart contracts in DApps are classified and secured, enabling trustworthy, scalable, and censorship-resistant applications across industries. But while...
Dear Christine, if we could speed up a little bit, please,
yes,
for your presentation to conclude.
Yes, final
Thank
slide.
you.
So, as I said, while much of our discussion has focused on the role of trust in decentralized systems, just allow me to, before I close, just to share the impact of trusted smart contracts, that to say that it extends far beyond DeFi DAOs and dApps. Their reliability is equally critical in legally governed environments, cross-border trade, and sustainability initiatives. So just because you're asking me to conclude, I will move on to this slide. Evidently, to say that we need the need for harmonized standards cannot be overstated, and this is the umbrella of the whole event today. So without them, without harmonized standards, we risk a fragmented landscape where different jurisdictions and industries follow divergent rules, shifting innovation and creating legal certainty. Standardizing smart contracts enables harmonized standards in general. This harmonization task requires collaboration among diverse stakeholders. So this includes all, from ISO to Sensenelec to ETSI to ITU. To this end, C-blocks plays a crucial role in complementing these efforts. So by fostering cross-border cooperation and facilitating this dialogue that C-blocks aims to facilitate among stakeholders, C-blocks bridges gaps between technical specifications and practical implementation. So this synergy ensures that standards remain relevant. So as we conclude, I'd like to leave you with just a call of action. So smart contracts are a transformative technology, but their success hinges on trust, clarity, and collaboration. Standards like TS 18126 provide the foundation, and I encourage you all, whether you are a regulator, developer, or business leader, or a researcher, to actively engage in these standardization efforts. And C-blocks offers an incredible platform for fostering dialogue, building partnerships, and shaping the future of smart contracts. And by working together and championing standards, we can unlock the full potential of smart contracts, making the digital ecosystem efficient, secure, and sustainable. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Christina, for your presentation with such positive energy and for the words you share about C blocks. There were some questions from the audience, which some of them were addressed by our experts, Jerome and Isabel. There is a follow-up one, which I maybe invite you to give a look while we step in into Ismail, because it's his time, it's turn to do the presentation.
Of course.
Thanks, Christina. Ismail, are you there? Okay, you need to mute your micro and share your screen, and we are ready to go.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Cblocks, for this invitation, and thank you all for jumping here. I will be going straight forward for a combination of what I did for Cblocks and a devolution overall. Well, I am very glad that over the last 19 years old, our techno legal compliance firm, Kung Food, is alive. And I can swear all our experts and the audience here that transform the way we understood the performance in compliance. So, well, this report was pieces were delivered to Cblocks, and other pieces are the evolution of the work I was doing within the ISO 307. The approach was a published standard in regards of governance, which is the 23635, which give a kind of clarity how we can understand different kind of blockchains or DLTs from the point of view of the accountability. For me, one of the values deliverables, in my opinion, was this brave situation from the accountability point of view, where permissionless is always public and private is always permission. And there could be a situation where a permission public is happening. And there could be another archetype in regards of a hybrid infrastructures, but this approach gave what it was a document that on behalf of my liaison situation with ISO 307, I presented for exploring the smart contracts facets and perspective within the DAO facets. And I think anyone can understand that there is an infrastructure level, there is an action level, and there is other thing that is offline, off-chain, or whatever that affect the conjunction or combination. So I believe the smart contracts co-live herein, and for DAO, there have been different kind of approaches, depends on the security levels, the participation, and even restriction levels that depends on the blockchain governance you are adopting for your DAO, could be in chain and are not what is reflected in some regulatory affairs, which in my professional opinion is on chain. So in the exploration mode, the project was achieved in Sydney. October took the decision that there could be a preliminary work item proposal and exploration over it. And I took the responsibilities as project leader to explore the in-chain, on-chain, and off-chain that I mentioned before. Well, these are the timeline I follow in regards of the working group 5 for ISO TC 307, which is the governance working group 5. This is the precise allocation of the project in this moment. And right now we are in a process where the national bodies and the different experts can discuss with their national delegations and take decisions for April in Brussels, where hopefully, and I am very happy to say with a little bit of a smile, we could approve this and make impact, because there's a tremendous need to harmonize this. We can even understand that the ISO 23307 and some experts in the group told me that is a kind of DAO, and even others are saying a DAO of DAOs. Very interesting, because the approach of the project is mm, based on the freedom of association and assembly, which is a fundamental right everywhere in the planet. Well, for being more appropriated with this action that I was making herein, I wanted to, it was clear the off-chain, what is for anyone in the industry of DAOs. I am co-founding member of some DAOs and state participant in others, and our techno compliance firm Comfort is helping DAOs and different kind of steering committees. So the question for me was this in chain and on chain, how to understand this and how to explore it further. So in the joining forces for blockchain standardization, the fifth edition that is in conjunction with the European Commission and INATBA, every year at the end of the year, I had the opportunity to be with some of our experts here to discuss on these regards. I believe there is a governance point of view that my conclusions with the exploration period is algorithmic governance. There is other kind of governance which is in regards of the organizational side and operational side, and there is also a governance in regards of the social situation. So this convergence point will fix what could be the matrix. In other words, the layer. What is the layer that the stakeholders in a DAO and participants and even potential customers, donors, or other kind of entities that are contributing to the common interest of this DAO, where would have this trust journal, if we want to show it like that. And then there is a situation which was clearly on chain, where it's very easy to understand that this level of assurance, this structuring of the smart contracts and the characteristics even of the programming language of this smart contract affect, because it's an on-chain situation. And there are other facets that could intervene: external entities, oracles, trust anchors, different kind of situations which are off-chain and probably could distress different kind of acquaintance with the social layer. And well, this was discussed in that meeting. I think was a clear good point for considering one classification of smart contracts in this way. And this is how it's evolving within the technical specification that Christiana is co-leader and co-project leader and explained before. So other affections, and I am very focused in this social environment, how to intricate with the governance for DAOs. There is a guidance on social responsibility, which is this 2000 ISO publication, which is open. And again, came like 3 levels. So, well, I believe that is an indicator that this in-chain, on-chain, and off-chain situation could be worthy to harmonize the understanding for policymakers, industry practitioners, and developers, and that sometimes the stakeholder vision that is a reflection may have an interest that is not consistent with the expectation of the society. And with the recent publication, uh, I believe it was last week, from the environmental and social and governance framework, the ESG framework that is uh, 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 an international standard in ISO, came also with this kind of expectation of the society that for me the smart contracts can unlock different kind of values with appropriate rewarding mechanisms, with anti-rival mechanism. DAO is a coexistence for a common interest. In other words, the stakeholders are looking for perhaps some DAOs in an altruistic way, others are with a wrap-up legal enforcement situation or entity or different kind of underlying situations to provide the accountability. So they take care of the common interest. And my final conclusion in the report for C-Blocks was that the European blockchain service infrastructure, due to the facts of the level of maturity of EIDAS and the recognition of the qualified electronic layers, perhaps there are viable components whereby could host a trust registry for DAOs to provide this legal certainty and accountability without any kind of doubts. And the conclusion was based on these minimal components, which is this legal presumption in regards of the qualified electronic layers with specific requirements in EIDAS 2.0, the multi-jurisdictional governance model that EPSI per se has got, the requirements for the digital wallets give certainty, but also is giving the authority to the governments to create these national DAO, national nodes and DAOs as trusted authoritative organizations. And the digital wallets are going to be provided by free by the European members. The trusted leaders are created because of the ecosystem of the trust service providers. So I think that EPSI could be a trust register for DAOs in future. And that was the final conclusion I gave to my report to the C-Blocks. Thank you very much for the grant I received, and I am continuing working within the ISO 23307 in the next plenary and so on. Any questions? I'm yours. Thank you.
Hi, Ismael. Thank you for the presentation. I don't see any further questions in the chat, although there is a comment from Christoph about the topic of your presentation. Maybe I invite you to give a look while I give the floor to Christoph for the benefit of time, because I'm aware that it's almost one. Thanks, Ismael. Christoph, thank you for your comment on the chat about
Hi.
Ismael, but now is your time to shine.
No
Here.
problem. So thank you for your presentation, Ismael. So now it's my side. I'm Christophe Oscan. So just let me share my screen with the presentation. So okay. No, shit. So do you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes. Is it okay?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes. Thanks.
Okay, so thank you very much for the invitation to discuss about the seed blocks, I will say projects. Thank you for the organization and for people that joining the ICT aspect interest regarding the blockchain technology. So today I will give you a brief introduction about myself just after. The main topic that I will cover today it's the multi-part standard on smart contract security that we are launching on the working group 4 from the TC307. And for more information, there is a PWI number 24875 for people that have, of course, an ICT ISO membership. So basically, I am a very long time on blockchain aspect. So I started to discover it in 2013 when I started a crypto mining rig in my house, just to understand what is the technology is, to learn also, I will say, all the technical aspects regarding the network and the protocol. At this time, it was not very much in documentation, so just some discussion on technical forums. So I started to join the community, I will say that. Then 2 years after, I decided to co-found a blockchain engineering and consulting company called Crypto for All. So we was one of the first company in Paris providing such services, only focus on this new kind of technology. So now we are still in Paris with 24 people, segregated between Paris and Singapore, because we have also another head quarter in Singapore for another aspect, for more the tokenization aspect. So I joined also the the AFNOR normalization and also the ISO TC307 at the start in 2017. Then I joined the French Federation of Blockchain Professional, from where I am the head of engineering, audit, and certification. So this is basically a federation with French members that are working on different kind of use case and industry. So feel free to go to the website to have better information regarding this. We joined as a Crypto for All a consortium called the Chase Blockchain Skills Alliance, which is an Erasmus Plus co-funded European project. So now it's at the end, after 4 years working on this consortium, a MOOC, a blockchain MOOC for training. It's a free tool, it's a free platform. So feel free to also to make some research regarding this if you are looking for to be trained on blockchain. I joined the ICT blockchain expert CBlock, but also I was on a standardized city organization few years before, for also to help and contribute on blockchain standards through the ISO TC307, and CBlock particularly helped me to to present you what I'm doing now for the security smart contract aspect. And we have also just 2 months before published a first certification with AFNOR, which is the national body for normalization and certification in France, to certify blockchain systems, so blockchain solutions that are using blockchain components like wallets, nodes, and they are trying to be secure and manage all the risks regarding, I will say, the management of such complicated system, because blockchain is a distributed one. So this is the same, not the same rules to administrate a solution using a blockchain than I will say a traditional system. So we worked 3 years with a pilot with some companies certified. So if you are interested to such information, also feel free to reach me after the presentation. So today, I will probably more discuss about the project from where I'm contributing, which is a smart contract security standard. This standard was started last year by Suda Layer, which is another expert, but she's leading, we'll say, the topic of this multi-part standard for the smart contract security. On this smart contract security standard, we want with other contributors and experts to cover I will say, the security aspect between the conception through the, I will say, the deployment of this smart contract. So there is a lot of steps, technical steps to do. So we want to achieve a first multi-part standard with three areas, I will say. First one is the development aspect, the code review aspect, and the diagnosis methods. So all of the three parts are linked and are part of, I will say, this multi-part standard. So the principles, it's the coverage of the, as much as possible, of the security aspect to the deployment of a smart contract. And the audience, it's basically companies that are developing a smart contract, companies that are launching blockchain solutions, smart contract based, like the app, for example, decentralized application, but also third-party auditors that need also some tools to know how they can review technical code, not only in terms of technical, I will say, vulnerabilities, but also in including the compliance aspect, the privacy aspect as well. So this is a huge standard. So the part one, it's for the secure development aspect. So the lead expert, it's Dongbin Choi from South Korea. So the document establish methods and techniques to implement security during smart contract development. It provides best practices, security testing methodologies, and iterative security control to minimize vulnerabilities during the development phase. So basically, all of the three parts are independent. So it means that we are starting all the three parts in parallel to keep our calendar, to have, I will say, in 2 years, probably this technical standard published. So this is, I will say, more or less the timing. It could be 3 years, but we still motivated to have something very rapidly because the industry is suffering of security aspects. So just a few weeks ago, we had a big hack on a smart contract from Bybit exchange. So they are using, I will say, some tools like Ledger, but like also multi-signature aspect. Even with that, at the end there was hacked a few billions. So I think that such use case is not the first, of course, but big institutions, big I would say companies are also facing about the security aspect, even if they have budget for security because of a lack of standard, I will say. So the second part, it's the secure code review. So this is where I am leader on the part two. So the scope is to define a code review methods and techniques for reviewing and analyzing the smart contract code. So it's standardized security code review methodology to minimize process execution vulnerability. So basically, in organization, so you start to specify, to develop your first, I will say, smart contract code. Then you audit it, or you make a code review of this smart contract code with external parties, but also with some partners. And then you deploy it. So the part two, it's more on the review aspect, the code only. So we are not trying to check the organization of the governance, I will say, of the solution. So this is out of scope. We are just focused on the code. So if the code is calling some specific function, some importing standards, smart contract code standards, libraries that are vulnerable. So there is a lot of, I will say, scenarios to take into account. So this part will try to cover it with different methodology to analyze. So we have manual, formal verification methods. So we are very careful about how we should cover this part as well. And the part 3, it's more on the holistic diagnostic method. So this is the leader is Gaby Urrutia from Spain. So he's also part of Albor and Company, a cyber security blockchain company. So the scope is to define holistic diagnostic methods and techniques to evaluate security and privacy aspects. For smart contract, it's standardized diagnosis techniques to reduce security gaps and potential exploit before and after smart contract deployment. So basically, here it's the tools and the methods that you are using just before deploying the smart contract and after the deployment to maintain the security of the smart contract itself. So it means that it's not because you have deployed a smart contract that you don't have to monitor it in terms of security. So I think that blockchain, it's very useful as it's I will say in terms of disponibility, something that cannot be shut down. So you have also to try to minimize the risk of vulnerabilities of a hack when 70 days and 24 hours per day. So this is also something that we want to cover to avoid, I will say, also smart contract security issues during the deployment phase and the execution phase. So thank you very much for your attention. So feel free to ask some questions if you have it, and reach me on my email or on LinkedIn as well. So I will just forward you my LinkedIn link on the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christoph. At the moment, I don't see any questions, but just a reminder to everyone, if you want to exploit the question and answer chat, Christoph will be more than happy to provide further clarification about his work. And now, before we go for lunch, let's listen Jerome. Hi, Jerome. I see you are ready. Almost ready. Just a matter to share your screen and we can start to learn about your work. Thanks, Christoph.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, perfectly. Thanks, Jerome.
Okay, thank you, Rita, for your invitation. Thank you, C-Blocks, for supporting my contribution. So today I will talk about bridging some ISO TC307 standards about smart contract classification, taxonomy, and ontology. So I'm Jérôme Pons. I'm an engineer and entrepreneur. So I founded Music Won't Stop company in 2011. And this company diversified in 2015 for developing some blockchain application domains for media and entertainment, mainly the music industry and the cinema industry. I discovered the smart contracts back in 2015 as I was chaining some traditional contracts in the music industry for fair value sharing. And at that time, I discovered that there was a technology which was called blockchain and smart contracts, which could help me automate the rights management in the music industry. So this is why I decided in 2017 to join the ISO TC307 standardization effort, and then in 2019 the Sensenelec one. So if we go back to TC307 standards, I've put in the link in the presentation the link to the technical committee 307, which is a blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. So today we have 12 published ISO standards and 12 ISO standards under preparation. So there are two ones which were already published, which are interesting for us. The first one is 22739, which is a vocabulary. So it gives a list of terms and the definitions of terms in alphabetic order. And today we can find in this one some definitions for decentralized applications, so DApp, as mentioned by Christiana, legally binding smart contract, and smart contract developer. So this is the first matter. And we have another standard, which is 23258, which was published quite a long time ago now, back in 2021. And this one is proposing a taxonomy of terms. It's a classification. So for example, if we open it, we will see that smart contract is a level 1 of the classification. And then below it, you will have legally binding smart contract, which is level 2. And that's it. You have nothing more about smart contract in this specification. So among the 12 standards under development at TC307, you can see the one which was presented by Christiana. So taxonomy and classification for smart contracts. So I've copy-pasted the abstracts that you can find in this page. What is important is how I used this standard under development to prepare my contribution. So this contribution, I did it last year. I submitted this contribution in November 2024. The objective was to harmonize two specifications, the taxonomy and ontology one, and the new one about smart contract classification. And I submitted this contribution to the two working groups at TC307 who are in charge of developing these standards. So the first step I did was to identify some smart contract characteristics. So for example, the properties, the qualities of smart contracts. As mentioned before, the interoperability, for example. We can have also the legally bindingness. So this is where we can find this legally binding smart contract, but we have also some security properties, that the one which were mentioned just before by Christophe, and vulnerability as well. You can also classify the smart contract per application domains. For example, the one which are used for automation, for governance, as mentioned before by Ismael, for structuration. So we have two good examples, organization smart contract, DAO smart contracts, for example. And we have other smart contracts which are used to exchange or create tokens. So it's what you call a token smart contract. And so there was in the chat one question. We have some token smart contracts for creating fungible tokens and some others for creating some non-fungible tokens, the well-known NFTs. We can also have some roles in smart contract. You can be the creator of the smart contract, the developer of the smart contract. So this is linked to the smart contract life cycle. So we have a term which is interesting. It's smart contract developer. And also we have many actions linked to this role. So you have the people who do things and who do actions, which this is the role. And then the clear action, so deploying a smart contract, for example. And then you have additional features like smart contract addressing. Any smart contract as an address. You can contact this smart contract through this address in a blockchain. And you have also some vocabulary. So Christiana talked about decentralized application under the name of DApp. So we have also some terms for that. So this was the first step, make some characteristics of smart contracts, the first classification step. Now let's move to the second step. We could start from scratch in TS 18.126, but as before I was involved in the taxonomy in 23258 standard, I wanted to have from the beginning a backward compatibility between the two specifications. So this is a very simplified draft view that I'm presenting to you. It's just to say that you have a level 1 where you can find again the smart contract. And then the objective is to define level 2, 3, 4, 5, so that we can cover as much as possible the smart contract terminology. So you can find where is DAO smart contract in this context. So now, what are the next steps? I talk about on behalf of course, of Christiana, because she's in charge of this TS 18126. The publication, it will be the next step. This standardization effort started in October 2023, so it is for 24 months. So it's supposed to be published by October this year. And which is interesting, and it was quite unexpected, is that it will trigger probably a revision of TS 26258, so which is now quite old. And this revision is the second next step. It will be an opportunity to enrich the current taxonomy. So we will have many smart contract terms, but we have also many token terms and also some decentralized identifier and identity terms, which are not yet covered by this specification. So the good news is that we need some taxonomies. I think that now you are sure of that because you have listened to Christiana. We need that. And the second effect of the revision of this taxonomy and ontology document will be to have a reference document about decentralized identity terms, for example. And this will feed the European standardization at Sensenelec GTC 19, because there is a working group 1, which is focused on decentralized identity. So the main message I have for you today is that we can harmonize standards, and we need to harmonize standards within the working groups for a given standardization body, let's say ISO TC307. So we had an example with this presentation and this contribution between working group 3, which is led by Ismael, and other group 5. And we have also to harmonize standards within the standardization bodies, and especially ISO TC307 and Sensenelec. And it's important for us as C-block experts. It's important to make to guarantee the consistency of standards, and also to keep an eye on the European regulation to see whether there are some European specificities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Jérôme, apologies. I said Christophe because I noticed Christophe he wrote a comment to you, Jérôme, like he says smart contract owner could also be added as well.
Yes, I confirm. I've just put 1 or 2 examples, but we have many. We have a smart contract owner, smart contract signatory, smart contract holder, anyway. So I invite you, Christophe, to read this, the latest draft of TS 18126.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jérôme and Christophe. I also like to thank for our attendees who stayed after 1 p.m. European Central Time Zone. We are 15 minutes ahead. Thank you for staying till the end. We are very happy that you joined your webinar today. I also like to thank Jérôme, Christophe, Christian, and Ismael for being here to showcase their work. And in order to conclude, just would like to mention that before we go to the lunch break, that we have another webinar right on Monday, but here we don't have our experts, let's say. It's a webinar focused on how blockchain can be used on train and supply chain. So it's a blockchain thematic workshop, webinar in a way, how blockchain can be used in this business field, the supply chains and trade. So we'll be happy to have you there as well to be in the afternoon from 4 to 5. And before we go for a lunch break, thank you once again for being with us today. We hope to see you on Monday, but also on those 2 events we mentioned that are taking place in Brussels. So 9th of April, which is a Wednesday, the Blockchain Standards European Day is an event by C-Blocks and Blockstand. and also on the 10th, the impact workshop on C blocks. Thank you very much and keep in touch. Have a nice weekend.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.